Someone told me there's no way that Rav Weiss will be able to come on Thursday night, time when he gives his big shir. But obviously the importance of this evening is very much mechazek us, and it's the big schus to ask Rav Weiss to address this evening.
It's always a simcha and always a privilege and it's good to be here. It's not the first time I'm standing at this very place to speak to the Choshev and beloved Talmidim of Aish HaTorah. I cannot say I'm happy to be here tonight. I wish I would be here in different circumstances and for a different type of occasion. This is the Shloshim of Rav Biermacher. But the Torah we learn here tonight, and the Torah you will learn here tonight, and all this Harbotas Torah and all this coming together should be Le'ilui Nishmasai, and he should be a Meretz Yosher. He so much loved the Talmidim B'chayav, so I'm sure that he is happy to be here with us tonight. There are ayahs from Chazal that a person's nature and his personality do not change after his demise. And in Olam HaEmes and Gan Eden, he is basically the same as he was here, a much higher madrega, but the tchunas are the same. And Rav Biermacher was so dedicated to his Talmidim and so much loved his Talmidim while he was here in the yeshiva, that definitely has not changed. So I'm sure that his tefillas up there are directed and he thinks about each and every one of his Talmidim in the yeshiva. So my divrei Torah and your divrei Torah should be Liloi Nishmosei Rav Reuven ben David? Rav Reuven ben Rav David. She'enu Shalom al Mishkava, and he should be a Meretz Yosher for us all. We should be Zeichen to Mashiach Tzidkeinu. In this week's Parsha, Parshas B'Shalach, we read Shiras Hayam. Az Yoshe Moshe B'nei Yisrael Asashiru Asayis. And Shiras Hayam was unique and different and special, very special. And Chazal say in Medrash, Miyoyim Shebaro HaKadosh Baruch Hu Olamoi, the Kisei HaKavod was Misroifei V'Hoilech, V'loi Nechayno, Ad She'amro Yisrael Shiru Alayim. Shenemar Nochayin Kisecho Me'az, alluding to Az Yoshi Moshe. Nochayin Kisecho Me'az, Me'olam Oto. Afal Pi She'Me'olam Oto. Loi Nechayno Kisoi, Elo Me'az. It is only when Moshe Rabbeinu and Bnei Yisrael standing at Kriyas Yamsef and saying Az Yoshi Moshe, that the Kisei HaKavod of HaKadosh Baruch Hu was really established and really set. So what is so unique and special about Shiras Hayam? We find another Mamach Chazal and Medrash. B'Shloshim Yisrael Shir Hayam, Lo B'Asher HaKadosh Baruch Hu Choluk Shel Tiferet, Shayu Chakukim Ba, Kol Az Shebetoyim. Az Yemolei Schoik Pino, Az Yoimru Bagoyim, Az Yebokar Keshachar Oireich. All those beautiful and wonderful Az that we find in Torah and Divrei Nevi'im, they all came to life when Bnei Yisrael Amru Shiro Alayam. So what is unique about Shira Alayam? Medrash number 3. I created all the Marishim, and he never said Shira. from Ur Kasdim, and he did not say Shira. I salvaged Yitzchak Avinu from the Akedah, neither did he say Shira. And when I saved Yaakov Avinu from Lavan and Esav, nor did he say Shira. Ansha Omri Yisod Shira Yah. But Adam Addition, Noach, the Ovis and Doishim, they davened, Avram Tikin Shachas, Yitzchak Tikin Mincha, Yankov Tikin Arvin. Obviously they said, Hoidoya, Hapam Hoides Hashem, V'tikru Shema Yehuda. They said, Broches, so they didn't say Shira. So what's the big deal? They said Hoidoya, they said Broches, they said Kriya Shema, they said, they davened, they said Shachas, Mincha, and Arves. So there seems to be something very special and something very different about Shira. So Rashi says, Oz Yoshi Moshe, Olo Belibo Ishi Yoshi Shira. Olo Belibo. Obviously, Rashi is troubled by the Loshen Oset, Oz Yoshio. In the future, he will sing the Shira, and why not as Shar? That Shira was already sung by Moshe and Bnei Yisrael. So Rashi comes to explain the Loshen Osid, referring to the future, is because before they said Shira, they decided to say Shira. And the Maral and Gur Aryeh comments, well, Soif Masav Machshavet Techilo, whatever human being does, obviously, before he does whatever he does, and before he executes whatever he executes, and before he says whatever he says, he always knows in advance what he will say and what he will do. So why does the Pasuk say, Oz Yoshia Moshe? So let me give you my feeling, which I think fits into what the Maral has to say. But let me tell you what Chassidish Shamaisa, Chassidish story. I think almost every time I'm here, I tell you Chassidish Shamaisa. And only you hear much of those when I'm not here. So there was a great tzaddik, Rabbi Uri Mitzvah. And before he passed away, he told his Chassidim that there is a younger man in the Ukraine. Somewhere in the Ukraine there's a younger man who is a great tzaddik. Sasam velo pirish. He said nothing more. And when he passed away, the Chassidim wondered and they were perplexed. What did he mean to say? Obviously that was a legacy. That was some kind of a testament. So they took Maklom Vitar Milam and they went to search. Who's going to be their Rebbe? The Hasidim, a Rebbe is somewhat like oxygen. We need a Rebbe. And they went Me'ir Le'ir, Mekfar Lekfar, and from one chutzah to the other, and they did not feel a spiritual connection until they came to Ruzhin. And the tzaddik Rabbi Yisrael of Ruzhin was a younger man. And they looked at him in his davening and they felt some tremendous isalus and elevation, and they felt this is it. And he's a young person, he's a younger man. And it's in the Ukraine, so probably this is what our great Rebbe had in mind. So after davening, he sent a delegation of the Sterlitz Chassidim to the original Rebbe, to Rabbi Yisrael. And they said, we would like to be part of your chutzah, and we would like to be your Chassidim if you're willing to accept us and be our Rebbe. So the Rishon asked them, where have you come from? And they say, our great Rebbe passed away. He was the Uri of Strelitz. So the Rishon said, well, you had such a holy Rebbe and such a great tzaddik, but obviously you understand that you have a big problem. What is the problem? Because the Uri, when he davened, he made a lot of noise, and his Chassidim as well. And they used to yell at the top of their lungs, and daven with a tremendous espilos, external espilos. They used to clap their hands and stomp their feet and yell at the top of their lungs. And that was totally different than the minig in Ruzhin. nobody raised his voice. So the tzaddik of Rishon told them, we will be happy to have you as part of us, but you need to be aware that davening here is different, very different than anything you experienced with your Rebbe. And they said, we are fully aware of that. We know how Hasidim act and how they interact. And that Hasidim must accept the yoke of their Rebbe and their Chotzer, and adate the hochi, sova vekibor. Yes, we will comply and we will be like all the others. So the first time the Strelitzke Hasidim came to Ruzhinu was Parshas B'Shalach, and they said Shir Sayam. So Berchas HaShachar, okay. Psukkah the Zimra, satisfactory, till they came to Shir Sayam. And then it was like a hurricane, like a tsunami. And the group of Strelitzke Hasidim standing on one side of the shul tried to scream and yell and clap their hands, and it was so invisible. After davening, they felt awful, and they were terribly embarrassed, and they knew that they crossed all the red lines possible. And they patiently waited for Motzei Shabbos. And Motzei Shabbos, b'chalitzas na'alayim, like a person that is in nidui, they came into their new Rebbe and started to cry, and they said, we know that we failed the test and we disappointed you, and we don't know how to make up for it. And the tzaddik of Ruzhin asked them, what's the matter? Well, what is the issue? I don't understand what you're talking about. So they said, we promised not to yell and not to clap, and we did. So the tzaddik of Ruzhin said, ich habe gesucht, man soll nicht klatschen, aber wenn die Hände klatschen sich von sich allein, auf dem hat man nicht geredet. We made a condition that you don't clap your hands, and you didn't. Your hands clapped on their own. It just happened. You had no control, he said, so I don't mind at all. So there are times in which we sing. There are times in which one's heart overflows with simcha and with gratitude and with hoidoyah. And he has no control. Halev oila al gidoisov. And the shila just is overpowering and uncontrollable when you feel a real kirvas elokim, and you feel so close to a Kodesh Baruch Hu, and you fall so full of simcha and of hoidoyah and of the vekas and the Kodesh Baruch Hu. That is what we define as shira. Olo beliboy sheyoy mar shira. One davens, one recites brachas, one pays gratitude. Shira is different. Shira just flows from your heart when your heart overflows with kirvas elokim and with vekas and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and with the greatest and utmost closeness to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and simchas u'amis. And maybe that would be the Hasidic interpretation of Olo beliboy sheyoy mushi. Their heart just overflowed. Raso shivchu alayam mashalay roy Yecheskel v'chol haneviim. The entire nation was elevated to a medrega of Nevi'ei Yisrael. Nevuah is not a gift. It is not a benefit. Nevuah is a madrega. It is a madrega which one needs to work on all his life. And only very few achieved the level of greatness which we define as Nevuah. Nevuah is kirvas elokim. And it is then and only then that the entire nation was a mamleches neviim v'goy kodesh, a nation of neviim. That was their madrega. And it is then, Sha'olo Belibo, Loimar Shiro. And that is the highest madrega of the Vegas. And therefore, when Bnei Yisrael said Shiro, that is the Tachlis of Riyah. So the Avos HaKadoshim and Avraham Avinu, they said Hoidoye, they daven, but Shira was unknown until Kriyas Yamsuf and Shira Sayah. So the Ran and Perek Arvei Psochim brings a very well-known kasha. Hallel, one could say only by day and not by night. That's a Mishnah Masechet Megillah Daf Chof. How do we say Hallel Beleil Aleph Shel Chag HaMatzos? It is only once a year that we say Hallel by night, and that is Leil Aleph Shel Chag HaMatzos. We all say Hallel in the Godesh Shel Pesach. Many of us say Hallel B'Tfilas Arvis, and the Svardim and Chassidim with a bracha, but that goes against the Mishnah. So there are two different approaches, and anybody could understand that this type of problem could be solved in different ways. Either we say that this night is not a night, different than all the other nights, or we say this Hallel is different than any other Hallel. There are only two ways to go about it. Obviously, once a year we say Hallel by night. So either this night is different than any other night. Lailo ki yoyim yoyo, ki chashecho ka'oilo. Hallel is rachamim. Night is midas adin, but not this night. Leil shemurimu. This night is lighter than any other day. So this night one could say Hallel. But the Ran brings a different approach, a different interpretation from Rav HaGaon. This night might not be different than other nights, but this Hallel is different than any other Hallel. And the Hallel we say, B'Chag HaMatzos, is Shiro. It's not Hallel. Well, it's exactly the same. Same Prokim in Tehillim. Search with a magnifying glass and you will find no difference. So why would that make a difference if we call it Shira and we don't call it Hallel? After all, it's Hallel, and we say Hallel by night. But if it's Shira, then how could one dictate when to say Shira? The hand klatschen sich allein. One cannot control Shira. You could control Tefillah, you couldn't control Hallel. Well, Shira is uncontrollable. This is the way we need to feel B'Chag HaMatzos. The same as Avoseinu Kishamdu Alayam, Ba'olo Belibo Loimar Shira. And that is why Shira cannot be contained. How could you say when to say Shira? That is when you say Shira. So, B'Leil Aleph Shel Chag HaMatzos, when Chazal teach us, B'chol doi v'doi chayav udem lirsatz makilu, Hu yotzom mitzrayim, right here and now. That is the way each and every Jew has to feel. Hu yotzom mitzrayim. What happened to them? They just said Shira. Wasn't planned. Wasn't on the timetable. It wasn't on the list. And therefore, this Hallel, which is Shira, we could say at night. And that is how a Jew has to feel in each and every day of his life. Kirvis Elokim and Simcha. So the two basic simchas we always hear about in yeshivas, in kollel, in botei medrash, and botei knesios. Simchas HaTorah and Simchas HaMitzvah. So if you're in a Hasidish yeshiva, probably you're going to hear a lot about Simchas HaMitzvah. If you're in a Litvish yeshiva, you're probably going to hear more about Simchas HaTorah. So which is the more important? Mamura Chazal, which seem to indicate that Torah is more important than any other mitzvah. Chavala Mandeles Ledarta, Vetara Ledarta Ovid, seems to indicate the contrary. Torah is the Shah, but Yerushalayim is the palace. At the end of the day, they are the two pillars of Avodas Hashem, of Tachlis Habriya, and one cannot say which is the more important. But besides Simchas HaTorah and Simchas HaMitzvah, there is something even more basic. Even more basic. And that is the Simcha of being a Yid. The Simcha of being HaKadosh Baruch Hu's chosen one. Bonov Shel Elokei. And that is the fundamental, that is the basis of everything. Of Simchas HaTorah and of Simchas HaMitzvah. So there's a story which I heard from the Lev Simcha, the Ger Rebbe. He heard it from his great father, the Imre Emes. And he was present by the Sfas Emes. Sukkos, by the Tish of the Sfas Emes. The Sfas Emes said, V'mezok dono Hashem, kemen poilen de greste Zachen. I look around this Vismenish, I doubt many of you understand Yiddish. Maybe one or two. Maybe one or two. So the Sfas Emes said, when you say Ono Hashem, you could achieve the greatest heights. And obviously we're speaking about Ono Hashem and Hallel. And the Imre Emes said, the next morning, in the Vismenish of the Sfas Emes, when they said Hallel, and they said, Ono Hashem Oishir, no, 50% of the Chassidim yelled at the top of their lungs. And when they said, Ono Hashem Atzlichono, the others shouted. But I understood that is what the Imre Emes said. That my great father meant neither Ono Hashem Oishir, no, nor Ono Hashem Atzlichono, but rather, Ono Hashem ki ani avdech, ani avdecho ben hamasach. Nobody thought about that. That was the genius of the Emes. This is the story, as I heard from the Lev Simcha. Now let me give you my interpretation of the story and my pshat. So what is so great about Ono Hashem ki ani avdech? In the entire Rambam, we find only twice the HaGaon Simcha Yisrael. It was clear to me for many years because I learned the Rambam more than once, but nevertheless, you always have this slight trepidation. Maybe you're not right. So some years ago, I said this in public, and right after the shir, a person walked up to me and he said, I checked you out. He had some kind of a little machine in the palm of his hand. I don't know what that was. And he said, Rabbi, I checked you out, and it's only twice in the Rambam. So it's only twice in the entire Rambam that we find the HaGaon Simcha Yisrael. Where? In Hilchas Chanukah, when the Rambam, Perek Gimel, gives us the halachas of Hallel, Ein loim Hallel b'Rosh Hashanah v'Yom HaKippurim, lefi she'ein elu yomim shel Simcha Yisrael, ela shaleimo v'yiro v'fachad. So obviously Hallel must be said in the Torah Simcha Yisrael. If you lack Simcha Yisrael, you cannot say Hallel. And at the very end of Hilchas Lulav, we find Afal Pisha Kol HaMoed Mitzvah L'Smoyach B'hem, B'yamei Achad Hoysu Shom Simcha Yisrael, and that is Simchas Beis HaShoyim. So there is only 2 times of the year in which he needs to feel a special and different level of Simcha. Sukkos and by Hallel. So come to think of it, that was Sukkos when the Sfas Emes said what he said. Simcha Yisrael metoich Simcha Yisrael, double Simcha Yisrael. Hallel b'chag Sukkos. Shtei Ta'id, and he says, Onu Hashem ki ani avdech. Onu Hashem Meshiono. Onu Hashem Atzlichono. It's Aleph Nun Hey. Onu Hashem ki ani avdech was a different word. The pronunciation is the same. It's a different word. It's Aleph Nun Hey. Onu Hashem Meshio, Onu Hashem Atzlich was Aleph Nun Aleph. And the Radak explains, Aleph Nun Aleph is a plea. It is a bakosh. We plead with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please, Rabbeinu Shalom, help us, save us, give us success. Aleph Nun Hey is an expression of gratitude. It is not a plea. Simcha Yisera, Matar Simcha Yisera. And he says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, thank you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I have no words to thank you. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu asks you, for what? That you let me serve you, that you let me be your slave. Avde behefkera nichalei. Who wants to be a slave? We are happy with slavery. We cherish slavery. Is anything greater than that? That brings us back to Ma'amad Har Sinai. That elevates us to the Madrega of Moshe Rabbeinu. Yismach Moshe v'matnas chelkoi ki eved nemon kol osama. We are different than all the others. All the others run away from slavery. We cherish it. We want to be Avdei Hashem. So when a person says Sukkos, and he says, Hallel, Kiflayim Simcha Yisrael. And he says, thank you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Thank you for what? Thank you for letting me serve. Thank you for letting me be here. Thank you for letting me be one of your chosen. One of your avodim, one of your children. So whatever one endures, and whatever life deals him, this basic simcha, we are on the HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves us. That is a simcha that needs to be with us each and every moment of our lives. And I think that was very unique with the Reuben, with Rav Biermacher. He had not a simple life. Different times, tumultuous times, but he was always b'simcha, and it was so obvious. He was b'simcha because he felt close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He seeked out HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he came in from the cold to live together with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that was his simcha, his basic simcha, a simcha which he radiated to his Talmid. Ono Hashem ki ani avdecho, ani avdecho, ben amosech. And from this basic simcha, simchas or avdus, one achieves simchas HaTorah and simchas HaMitzvah. Because those are expressions of our avdus and our kesher to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Talmid Torah, Yehiyas HaMitzvah. This is my brother to each and every one of these Choshev Talmidim who are with us here tonight. Shloshim lebechi, shiva lehesped, shloshim le'evel. So when we pass the mark of 30 days, what do we come together? Not to cry, not to be maspid, but to learn. After 30 days, we have time to think, to internalize, and to try to emulate. And that is why we come together after Shloshim Yemei Evel. So my bracha to each one of us, of our Tayat Talmidim, precious Talmidim. You should always have this simcha of Kirvas Elokim. And each and every day of your life, you should be zeicha to say Shira. Your personal Shira to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Your personal song of praise and of Dveikus and of Kirvas Elokim. bezorge lekol biyomenu tetchias hameisim yakitzu biyaranu l'shoich neyafo. These are testing times and difficult times. This wave of terror still did not subside. In the entire world, especially in Eretz Yisrael, and even more in Yerushalayim. Every Yiddish neshama is precious. Each and every Yiddish neshama is precious to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But in this wave of terror, we lost many tzaddikim and Talmidei Chachamim and Marbitzei Torah. And we need to daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and do everything in our power to be ma'orer rachamei shamayim. Torah is ma'orer rachamei shamayim. Tzedakah is matzil memoves, and midas shebein adam u'chaveroi, loving each other and caring for each other. Kol maracham al habriyos, marachamim olav yishua. Kodesh Baruch Hu yochas v'yaracham al amay. You should only hear beside the stories Yeshua's menachomes shelo yeshama oid shoyd v'sheva. And this beautiful and wonderful yeshiva should prosper and grow